to Sunday Brunch, powered in part by Backyard on Bell and Classic of Denton.
Thank you for tuning in tonight, y'all. Thank you for tuning in tonight, y'all, on Sunday Brunch. It's a special Thursday night edition. I'm going to do something a little bit different tonight. I'm going to take a track. I'm going to make a track for y'all in about 20-30 minutes. And I'm going to show y'all how to do that. I'm going to talk your way through it. It's going to be a good time. I've never done this before, so we're going to give it a shot here. But this right here is the sample that we're going to start with. It's from a track by Denise Williams called Free. Let me show y'all what that actual track sounds like real quick. Just going to give y'all an example of how things will change throughout the song. So we'll just drag that out. So I'm using a program that's called Ableton Live right now. And so I'll kind of just a lot of different sample points within the track. So I'm just kind of, these are all my audio clips right here, and so each one of these, as you'll see, brings you a different sound. Alright. So as I hit that, that's the sound that you get. But now if you really want to, if you want to kind of mess with the sample a little bit more, what you do is you pull in something that's called a sampler in Ableton, and you drag and you drop your sample into there. And so then what you want to do is you can play it on the keys. Now as you can see, it's a little quiet right there, so if your sample's quiet, go grab yourself a compressor, bring the threshold down and bring the out down, and just copy and paste that right on there. So you just bring the out up, and we got the threshold, and now as you can see on the keyboard, I can actually play the sample and kind of do my own thing with it, and then turn the metronome on. Alright, so that's kind of the beginning to how I make the beats that I make. So I start off with a sample, find something that I like, and then go from there and just kind of play it on the keyboard. Sometimes if the sample's just good by itself, we just do it on the fly right there and just leave it the way it is. But tonight, we're going to make a beat from scratch. So let's check this out. So I already have a drum rack pulled up. If you use Ableton or you use Fruity Loops or anything like that, you probably know how to do drum racks. If you're new to Ableton, you just go to the instruments, click drums, click drum rack, drag it over, and then you can drag your drum sounds into that board that you'll see that comes in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen and play it all through. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off that metronome. Let's go ahead and get a simple beat going. When you're making like hip-hop beats and stuff, you want to have things hit on like the 1, the 2, 3, and the 4, you know, so, and you'll hear it right here if I turn this on. So what I like to do is go ahead and make it so that I have a count in, so that everything's kind of playing with itself, and so you can go like something like this. So I've got beats, you know, there's your drums right there, okay? So so that you can just kind of play through it like that on the keyboard and kind of get the beat that you're looking for. Now, I like kind of that beat, but I feel like this is real soft, kind of a jazz track, so I'm going to grab something that's called the stick, or it's like a rim hit, so you can go into your drum rack in Ableton and just go to drum hits, go to rim, and then grab whichever one you like. There's a whole bunch of different sounds. I like that one right there, so I'm going to go to my drum rack and I'm going to replace my snare with that sound right there. And so that's what you're going to start to hear. See right there. So then if I want to, I've played the keys right here and I've already sampled them into these 3 squares right here. So And that's kind of how you can start developing the pattern that you want to go with and kind of the vibe that you're looking for. So you play it on the keyboard, sample it into your pads right here, which is a whole different realm of tutorialness altogether. And then just kind of play it through like that and find the pattern that you like. If you want, you can... Now, something that I really like to do, because it helps to add bounce to a track, is you want to put a compressor on your sample. And by a compressor, I mean a sidechain. So you want to sidechain it. So you'll go get a compressor, you'll press that arrow on the top left-hand side, click sidechain, go to audio from, and it'll say no input, and then choose your drum rack. And under there, you'll see a thing that'll say under your drum rack that you choose. Mine's called Dilla Rack, because I like Jay Dilla. And you'll see under there, it'll say post effects. What you want to do is you want to go ahead and select your kick, whatever your kick is, post effects. So mine is a kick vinyl snare, post effects. So I'll click that, and what you're going to hear now is every time that kick hits, the sample's actually going to duck. And that just helps to provide some headspace for your drums or whatever else you're trying to do in the track. So I'll give you guys an example real quick. So the more that I pull down on the threshold on my sidechain compressor, the more that it ducks, right? And so you can see that kind of starts to give the track some groove to itself. So I'm starting off at 90, but I want to kind of drop this down to 80, I think. Yeah. So I really like the way that sounds right now. So now I've kind of got the loop that I like and that I would start with to bring the track in, right? And so I'm going to start to get moving here on this so we can get a pretty much almost a finished beat, or what I'm going to try to have is a finished beat done in about the next 15 minutes. So from here, what you're going to do is you want to hit your scene launch, and that's going to go ahead and launch that track. So what I like to do is I'll just go ahead and probably record just a little bit, and then I'll stop it, it's recorded, and then I'll go ahead and drag the sample and those drums out for about 12 bar or 17 bars. All right, you want to make, if you're making a beat, you want to have 16 bar loops. So if the beat's going to start at the 5, you need it to go to 21. If it's going to start at the 1, it goes to 17. It's just the way it works. It's weird. So then, like for instance, so I can start that off like that, and then I'm going to add some hi-hats to the sound, and I'm just going to kind of click hi-hats random spots. So So that's kind of the beginning on how you can start to develop your beat right there. Alright, cool. So then what I want to do here is I want to actually make that beat 16 bars long. I don't want it to be super repetitive though, so what I'm going to do is go in, just start working just like that, just kind of taking pieces out, dropping pieces in. Alright, so let's see how that sounds. Ooh. Okay, cool. So I also have some pre-made like sound clips that I've done. I highly recommend you do this if you come up with a pattern you like in drums or hi-hats or something like that. Pre-record that pattern, and then that way you always have it as a sound clip and you can just put it in as a sample. You don't have to continually make stuff again and again and again. You can kind of speed up the process. Just a little bit of coffee to help me get through that real quick. Alright, so this is where you go, and All right, cool. So that's the part that's been recorded on the track so far. So now we're going to add some new hi-hats to it real quick. All right, here we go. All right, see, that kind of starts to add a new feel to it. I'm going to kind of adjust the volume on those. And then also, something that I like to do too is I like to put that sidechain compressor on my hats. See how it kind of brings them down? It just kind of ducks things behind it, gives it a bit of more of what I feel is like a humanistic feel in a way, since we are making music in a computer. Alright, cool. So then we can go back into Ableton real quick and go ahead and just drag that out the rest of the way. Let's go ahead and delete that automation. Drop that volume down. Sweet. Alright, so from here, I'm real quickly going to go and I'm going to add a crash in here. You know what? I don't like how much that ducks. There we go. Cool. And this is my 80 at work real quick. I've decided it's time to put some reverb on that click, or that side hit that we have. See if we can bring that out a little bit more like that right there. Alright, cool. And then on a lot of my kick drums, I have auto filters, and they're kind of brought down. It makes the kick a little more punchy. It drops down the lows if you put a low pass filter on there. So that's what I highly recommend you do. Take an auto filter, put a low pass filter on there, and bring it down to about 238 hertz, 265. It can be anywhere around there. It just doesn't have to be a perfect science. But you'll kind of hear the difference real quick here. So now that I've got my initial sample that I'm going to use, I'm going to start to chop it up a lot more and turn it into something different, so it's not just the same repetitive sample again and again and again. But what you see is initially we've got to get something going, and it's all kind of like mathematical. It's about having the timing right. So you've got your 4 drum parts, your 4 drum loops, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And so right there on that 4th count, that's when our sample's gonna do some changing in a way. So what I've done is I went ahead and I duplicated that original sample 4 times. And then what you can do, just like you heard right there, is you can really just kind of move stuff around and see what happens. So let's see what goes on if we move this down the line a little bit. So we just changed, this one's gonna, alright. So that's what happens right there on that. Ooh, okay. So let's try that on for size real quick. So if we come in, we have that right there. Cool. Ooh, I like that. And yes. Yeah. There we go. Cool. Let me see. Alright, so I think we're pretty close to being done here on what I would consider kind of almost finished beat at this point. So real quick, what I'm going to do though is I'm just going to show you. We take this real quick. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Okay, cool. So yeah, y'all, I just wanted to kind of give y'all a quick rundown on how this whole beat making process goes. That's pretty much, that's a quick portion of how you would do that in a nutshell. We're definitely going to do this again because I want y'all to see a little bit more. I'm going to go home and work on this beat some more. So if y'all liked what you saw, please share the video. Go ahead and comment on it. Leave me some questions. Once again, I kind of threw a lot of stuff at everybody real quick. I kind of just showed you the basics of the beginning of how to make it. So maybe next time we'll go a little bit further in depth, y'all. So tune in. Once again, this was a special Thursday night live edition of Sunday Brunch. You guys can catch me this Sunday at Backyard on Bell for breakfast and beats. And then I'm back here on Tuesday with my homie Hagen from Moniker, and we're going to be talking about their next album release. So y'all have a good night. Stay warm out there. It's getting cold. Peace.
Well, thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. Be sure to check out DentonRadio.com for new Denton artists and where they're playing next. While you're surfing the internet, make sure you check out our friends Classic of Denton at ClassicofDenton.com.